fucking stereo I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it looks like a PlayStation 3.
It really does, actually. And destroys the shit out of it. And then he falls in the bushes. And Ellen's like, calls up to the roof, Clark, supper's ready. And he calls from the bush, oh, good, I'm hungry. She's like, what the fuck? Okay. Which, you're married to Clark. Isn't this normal to you?
Finally getting 25,000 imported Italian twinkle lights. They get everyone outside. Everyone's all freezing. I'm like, why didn't you all put coats on? You're all old people.
I guess I assumed that they would only be out there for a minute, I guess, but it's weird.
Gets everyone to do a weird drum roll. I do like, what is it? No, it's not art. Is it art?
Yeah, it's art.
That does with his tongue. I'm like, what is that? Doris has another. It's all good stuff. Then nothing.
Lights, and it doesn't work. And nothing.
Doesn't work.
Nothing
works.
No.
25,000 lights don't work. Hell, the Santa Claus and the reindeer don't work.
Well, that's later.
Yeah.
I do enjoy that, like, clearly Ellen's parents hate him. Because her mom just immediately goes, kids, I hope you notice what a terrible waste of resources this was. Because she's clearly on her, like, 900th martini. And, Art, the first thing he says is, it's beautiful, Clark.
Yeah.
Like, just a
like,
prick.
what do you... Fuck you both.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
I'm trying to give everyone a magical Christmas time. And you keep riding my fucking ass.
Old bastard. And, Audrey, in one of the nicest things she says through the whole film is just like, they look good, Daddy, even though they're not lit. And he just sort of stops from being shocked for a minute and just goes, oh, thank you for actually giving a shit.
Yeah.
And then he asks Russ, like, we checked them all, didn't we? Oh, yeah, I'm sure of it. And then he goes back up and starts checking them all. I do enjoy his dad, though, too. No. It's like, hey, if you need any help, give me a holler. I'll be upstairs asleep.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
thanks,
Dad.
Thanks, Pops.
So he's up there checking while the fucking night goes over.
So Clark, as one is to do around the Christmas times, has to hide presents.
Yep.
Goes up to the attic and does not find Claire or Mrs. Mac.
Wow.
I was planning that joke.
I can imagine.
While watching the film.
I can tell.
Comedy.
So yeah. Anyway, he hides the gift into a little space that he's had, and then he finds one from like 1964. It's like, oh, huh. And I would look at that if I were him, and like, I can give her that now.
Yeah.
But then Helen's bitch of a mother.
Yeah.
Doesn't think for half a second because she's cold. She's like, "Where's that cold coming from?"
Oh, attic.
The like ladder to the attic is down, and instead of being like, "Hey, is somebody up there?" she goes, "Oh, okay," and then closes it. Why it locks from up there, I don't know.
That was my question. I'm like, why is that a thing?
I don't know.
Because that could actually happen.
My guess is, shut up, it's a movie.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there's any... Because that doesn't make sense.
That's a safety hazard.
Yeah, that's absolutely a safety hazard, and that's just not happening. So, it makes no sense. But, also, Clark makes an even dumber decision in a minute, so we'll get there.
Fair. So they all leave. Like, literally everyone leaves.
Well, they're all going to the mall to go shopping and have lunch, which is very important because Art needs to take his fucking back pill, and if he doesn't, he's fucking apparently gonna die.
Art, they don't got food in the fridge?
Yeah, no, apparently not. I have to eat because he's like, because they don't even check, like, she's just like, I know he wants to come with us. He's got a car, he can drive. Why don't you don't you think you should tell him you're leaving? No? Art?
Anyone?
Dickhead?
Bueller? No? Okay.
So he tries to call to them, but they can't hear him, so he's stuck up there. So he
he finally gets his head out of a window, but they're driven off at this point.
Which I always thought as a kid. There's 2 times in this moment I always thought as a kid. A, he could break that thing and fit through there pretty easily. And what, is he afraid to fall off the roof? He's done it 3 times now.
Yeah.
And then B is later on, but so he starts hunting for shit. Because we also get the
Sideshow bobbing himself.
We get the old gimmick.
I can't say Sideshow bobbing.
It's not Sideshow Bob. It's actually because they got it from this, which got it from fucking Three Stooges.
Yeah.
Basically, or no, it wasn't Three Stooges. I think it was actually Charlie Chaplin. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know where the hell it came from initially, but he's doing this thing where there's like boards weirdly set up where he's stepping on them and they're flying up and hitting him in the face.
Seems to be the only purpose of these boards, or someone to step on them and smack them in the face.
Is to do this gimmick. So he goes over and looks for clothes. So he finds a bunch of shit. So he's got like a fur shawl that he puts on him, and he's got these like weird, like old-time lady gloves. And a what can only be described as a gypsy hat. I don't know what the hell this thing is.
Yeah.
And then he finds a box of old movies, and the way he's walking specifically like before he was walking on the beams, which is what you're supposed to do. Now he's purposely only walking on the drywall.
His feet went through the drywall.
Yeah, which is the second part of my theory of like he could just crawl through that.
Yeah,
he's already made the hole. Just slide your way through. You're good, my friend. But no, he doesn't do that. He does something even dumber, where he sets it up and he's going to watch it, but guess where he's fucking sitting? He's watching all these home movies and stuff like that, which are all silent, like, film reels.
I think
and he's bawling his eyes out.
It's legitimately, I think, my favorite part
It is
of the
a
movie.
great, beautiful moment.
Because he's like, this is a magical Christmas time that I'm trying to give to my family, and now he's cutting to, things. And it's funny because it's not that magical, because he's got his Uncle Lewis there, like, smacking him on the head.
But it's the same as everybody's Christmas, right? I have ridiculously fond memories of Christmas growing up. And I would give anything I have in this world to go back to them. Not even, but also to,
just
go back to them, just to see it. But, yeah, we all romanticize it. You don't remember the arguments. You don't remember the bullshit. I'm sure I got smacked in the head a couple times as a kid, just for whatever fucking reason, being a kid at Christmas, because kids are assholes at Christmas. All that shit. But you romanticize the fuck out of it, and I would give anything to see that shit. I don't even care. And that's perfectly that moment.
You know what the funniest thing is?
What?
The one thing I remember the most is that every Christmas Eve, me and my mom would go to a friend's house, and then after we'd go home, and she'd have a few pops, obviously.
Yeah.
So me half asleep, almost all the way asleep, and hearing in the other room the rustling and the bustling of the gifts coming out. And my parents quietly bickering, like, shut up, shh, because they're both half tanked. It's amazing.
I have that.
Amazing.
I have that exact same. I have that exact same thing because my parents didn't need an excuse like Christmas Eve to get trashed, and the Santa Claus thing, I don't know how long it lasted in my family, but I know it wasn't long because I don't remember when I do not remember when I found out the truth because it must have been so early that there's no fucking way I could have. Because you could easily hear my parents fucking getting everything out and shit like that. I'm like, I don't know how fast they think we as kids go to sleep, but they think it's 20 seconds.
The illusion gets shattered even more when, like, a week later, another present would appear because my mom forgot it. Santa forgot this one, too! I'm like,
see,
got lost in the mail, did it, Mom?
My mom wouldn't be dumb enough to say Santa brought it. My mom would be like, oh, here was another gift that I couldn't get you on the day, here it is, right after.
She had to say Santa because the tag said from Santa.
So. Oh, my mom would have changed that.
Yeah.
Because my mom did have sober moments where she would change that.
Amazing.
My dad would literally tell her, and I heard this once before, my dad told her, put it away for next Christmas, it'll be fine. No.
Don't do that.
Just don't. But it was amazing. But yeah, so you're watching that, and this is what I complain more about than all the other times he could have crawled out. Why is he sitting on the door?
Yeah, well, he probably doesn't realize, right?
Because, Ellen, who I guess is going up there to hide presents, pulls the door, and he comes flying down, and I'm looking at this going, nope.
I want to cut to the scene where you're like, why are you dressed like my mother? They don't do that.
Well, no, I mean, that's perfectly reasonable.
Because you can, I don't want the visual of her talking, I want just the audio of her going, Clark, why are you dressed like my mother?
I don't think she would question that, because I think she'd be like, well, he was clearly trapped up there, and he's cold as fuck, and that's all we had up there. Why? I would like to know why those were up there. None of them are old enough for that.
The yuppies coming back from a run in, like, the shiniest spacesuits you've ever did see.
We skipped over when they noticed that their fucking, their stereo's broken, and this was the part I was talking about earlier, about how they even say each other's name.
I don't know, Margot!
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I don't know, Todd!
Because he's like, well, something broke the window, something had to hit the stereo, and then she walks over and goes, and why is the carpet all wet, Todd? I don't know, Margot. I'm like, oh my god, people talked like this.
Yep.
Holy shit.
And then he's like, I want to get a nice bottle of wine and kiss every inch of your body after
you shower.
Of course. Jesus. You can feel the fucking love.
Yeah. If she wasn't Julia Louis-Dreyfus, I would have walked away by now.
Clark and Ellen outside. Trying to get the lights to work again.
Because he basically, this is when he decided
He's
to
checked
light
all
up
the
the
lights
Santa.
and-
He's checked all the lights and he wants to light up the Santa because, no, he hasn't finished checking yet.
Yeah.
He's like, I still have several hundred more to check.
That's true.
And he's just like, I could light up the Santa Claus and the reindeer. That'll
For
look
now.
nice at least. And she's like, oh, do you want me to do the drum roll? He's like, no, that's not necessary. And he was like, all right, I got it. And then he plugs it in and he goes, what the fuck, man? Like, it's not working. And then she's starting to think logically of, like, use one more. She goes, you used more than one cord, didn't you? And he's like, of course. And he goes, is it plugged in? And he just goes, do you really think I would check thousands of lights if I didn't think it was plugged in? And she just looked at him. And I'm like, yeah, that's the most telling look I've ever seen in my life.
So he goes off to go check.
Mm-hmm.
His mother, in the garage,
they have a fridge in the garage.
hits a light switch for the garage, which is somehow connected to the lights.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
If you had a separate garage, which we did as well at one point in time, the light switch in there controlled not just the lights, but all the electricity in the garage.
Yeah.
So you flip that switch, and everything goes on. So
Lights
she
go
flips
up.
that switch, the lights go on, Ellen's freaking the fuck out, Margot and Todd
get blinded by the
as
light
fuck.
because after their shower they're kissing over wine,
Yeah.
and then just gets blinded, and then
and they're falling.
hilarity
and shit.
ensues
Yeah.
there. Things get knocked over. Todd falls down the stairs.
And then I like the fact that it sucked all the power out of the city, so that they had to switch to the nuclear auxiliary.
Yeah.
And they literally cut to this like giant beautiful shot of like overhead where it's just the brightest fucking thing in the world. It's great.
Of course, after she's done in the
She
garage,
turns the
turns
light
the lights
off.
off. Lights are off.
Mm-hmm.
Clark comes back out.
It's like
What?
And she just
Well, they were on a second
they were
ago.
on, and he's like whatever. And then she goes back to check, and nothing. And then he plugs it back in.
Nothing.
And then because she goes to check.
Yeah.
And she goes to check the most terrifying looking fucking electricity chain I've ever seen. Comically large electricity chain. See, this was a thing we used to do, kids, before.
Power bar into a power bar.
Power bars
plus...
existed, but this wasn't even that. Power bars existed, but they were not widespread use. What we used beforehand, and I had these growing up, is these little fucking ridiculous cubes.
Yeah.
That were just there as splitters.
Yeah.
They were not safe.
Yeah.
They were they worked. They definitely did what they were supposed to do, but shit got lit on fire a lot. So this is what it was, and this is when she also went in there, and then I think Todd fell down the fucking stairs.
Yeah, they hit the lights again. He falls down the stairs.
Yeah, because she flicked the lights to go check this terrifying thing, and it worked. And he's like, "Ellen, I fixed it. Everyone, I fixed it." And then they all start to come out, and then the lights go out again because she turned it off again. And she's sitting in the kitchen table, and they all show up, and it's like
he's freaking out.
What the hell? And he starts losing his shit.
This is where he punches Santa,
breaks
finger,
the reindeer, and fucking
kung fu fights the reindeer. Runs off a screen because he broke his fucking finger. Yeah. So like he doesn't want to be in the scene anymore.
Exactly. Punted Santa, which is my favorite moment.
He did punt Santa.
Punted the shit out of Santa, and then you cut to Ellen
figuring it out.
Who goes, "Oh fuck." And then he, at the exact same moment that she's walking over, is doing this, and basically in this slow motion of slamming the two cables together. And she flicks the light at the same time. Bunch of sparks. The fucking lights come on.
Yeah. It's a beaut, Clark.
It's a beaut, Clark. It's a beaut.
I learned all my
external illumination from you, Dad. Which is such a great line. Oh, and then he's just going around the family, just being like,
Art.
Art, Dad. And he actually he starts out with being like, it's very nice. Those little arts aren't twinkling. Thanks, Art. Thanks for noticing. And even the mother, she's like, it's beautiful, but she's kind of rolling her eyes like, it's just fucking yellow. Like, all right. But of course his parents are very happy. The kids are very happy, and Ellen's very happy. Then he goes over and says, Eddie, what do you think, buddy? It's beautiful, Clark. Eddie?
Yep. And then the star of the show shows up.
Fucking Cousin Eddie pops in.
Eddie with the family and the RV.
Mm-hmm.
And the other unsung hero of the film, Snots.
You remember the kids? Oh, give your Uncle Art a kiss. I wouldn't do that. Artie's got a lip fungus that ain't been identified yet. And, you remember Ruby Sue? Oh my God, her eyes aren't crossed anymore. Damnedest thing. She falls down a well, eyes are crossed. Gets kicked by a mule, they're back to normal. I don't know.
I can't explain it.